Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rights for Vets. Um, I'm going to be working around my little StreamYard here for a minute. I'm going to put on some music and a little promo here. Give me about 10 minutes and I'll be back. I have something to really show you people. You people better start waking up and you better start waking up fast. You better start going after your government because what they're going to do to you and your family is just unheard of. It should just piss you right off like it does me. Things are coming down like you're not going to believe, and it's going to be terrible for everybody. And I'm not bullshitting either. All right, let me start with the music, and then I'm going to be back. I got to do some stuff here. Well, hello, Mr. Frosty. How you doing? We're on live right now.
Howdy. Doing
How,
fine here.
how was
Just
your
got back.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I just got back from the store. Had to buy
Did,
a few things.
did you buy me anything good?
I don't know. You like oranges?
Oh yeah, I eat those. I love the peels.
Sun. Well, I'll save the bills for you.
I thought you would.
I like those sun-kissed oranges when they have them. They don't always have them, but they're the juiciest.
I can't think of the name. I got to ask my better half. They're real small oranges. I mean, real small. And man, you talk about potent. Holy Anna. They are good. Better than
That's what-
Sunkist. Huh?
Are you are you sure they're oranges, not tangerines?
I don't know for sure. I thought they were both in the same family, no?
Well, they might be in the same family, but they're different. Tangerines are excellent for you, though.
Are they really?
Oh yeah.
That sounds like a winner. I got your message, and I don't know if you see my last video.
I don't know. I've seen a couple of them here recently.
Yeah, about CBDC.
I
Uh,
don't know. I've been looking through so much news; it's all jumbled up in my head right now.
and what's it? Carl Tucker. He said something
Oh,
about it.
yeah, Tucker Carlson. I seen that one.
Wow. All right, that's it. No more. Now it's hitting home. You know what I mean? And then what you just sent me today, I am not too enthused about this at all. People don't realize what's going to happen to them. They have no idea.
They have no clue.
No, I wrote to Joe Cool about what was going on a little bit.
Yeah.
Told him he better start investigating the CBDC because you're not going to be doing your cop activists at all. You know, with this digital currency that's coming up, they're going to stop you from doing anything.
You know, we might just talk about that on the stream, and maybe some of those auditors will pick it up.
Well, we can talk about it right now because I did leave a message to Joe Cool. Uh-oh, what's going on here? There we go. I did leave something to Joe Cool. I told him to check it out. Tell him it's up to him what he wants to do. But I told him, I says it's coming down. There's no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, and all the financial people on YouTube are talking about it, and it's a given. According to most of them, there's no stopping it. I mean, they're going to try to roll it out. The only thing that can stop it, according to George Gammon, is us.
Yeah.
We have to say no, and that'll be the only thing that will stop it. But it will totally take away your free will. You have, you know, really, I think legally, it's against the Commerce Clause. And it should be illegal for them to do this because they are then regulating commerce and interrupting commerce, which is totally against the law. So what they're doing, I think, is illegal as hell. And no one elected these people to do this. We didn't elect the Federal Reserve, and we're not. And there's no reason to put them in charge of our money and put it on a digital thing where they can control us and tell us what we have to eat and what we can buy and what we can't buy and what we bought too much of and cut us off and all that nonsense, which is something that, I mean, you know, they're not going to roll it out like that, but that's the end result of it once they get enough people on there. And then they eliminate cash and, you know, the sky's the limit, and these banks getting involved in it. Well, they're not going to be doing what they're doing for free, and supposedly the banks are going to benefit. So where are they going to benefit? They're going to have processing fees and all this other stuff. And, you know, it may sound like a really good idea, but maybe the fee will be 50 cents. But once they get you on there, once they got you trapped, it can go anywhere, you know. It can go $10, $20. They could, and there wouldn't be nothing you could do about it. Not a thing.
And they're going to do it because they don't want you to have anything. They want you to lose everything.
Yeah, they want to take everything from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is what they want to do. They really want to take everything from you. I mean, it's no different really than slavery. The only difference is they're not coming out and, you know, putting shackles on you physically or beating you or, you know, whipping you with a bullwhip or anything like that. They're not doing that. But I don't see it any different than becoming one of their slaves, because if I can't go out and work and get paid and do what I want to do with my own goddamn money, well, to me, that's slavery. If they can dictate to me what I can buy, where I can go, what's the difference between slavery and that? I don't see it, but I think it's totally illegal. And then you've seen where they've also come out with anything over $600. You know, they want to track it. That's what those IRS agents are for, that they wanted to hire, because they're not going after the wealthy people, you know.
Well, they're also going to do something else with us. They want to get rid of our guns. That's the best way of doing it. You don't get rid of your guns and give it to us, you're not going to get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, well, we want your bullets, you want your guns, everything.
Well, who's, you know, they're not even the government. They're not even the government. That's what is so infuriating. If you could say, well, the government is doing this. No, the government may be standing by and not doing anything to prevent it, but it's not the government actually doing it. These are unelected bankers. Uh, you know, the Federal Reserve is a private bank. So if they allow this, it is totally illegal. It's against interstate commerce, for one thing. All the laws in interstate commerce, I don't know how many they violate when they do this, but it's got to be a bunch.
Well, the problem is that people ain't sticking together. They don't think it's going to happen. They think it's a big joke. You know, ain't nothing. This is America. It's not going to happen. No way is it going to happen to us. It's happening now. They don't even see it. They don't even try to look for it. They don't even try to do any education for it. And I can see it when people don't even look at my stream. You know what I mean? They think I'm full of shit. They do. And I understand that. But, you know, I'm going to have the last laugh.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people are unaware, and if you even bring it to their attention, they don't understand what you're talking about. Number one, and then they just shrug it off. You know, life's going to go on like it's always gone on, but it's not. It's not.
No, they think I'm the radical. You know, this Klaus Schwab is exactly telling them, like you said, what he's saying exactly, and people are just like dismissing it if they hear him talking at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you American people are going to starve. And what?
Well,
Go on.
they're going to eat bugs. They won't starve. They'll eat bugs.
Yeah, but yeah, all of us.
Well, that was another thing. You see, on Tucker Carlson, they had that episode on them eating bugs on there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I heard about it though. I did hear about it. I'm trying to look for it myself. I should go. Yeah, get that too.
I didn't really watch it. I just seen the little bits and pieces of it. They had a brownie or something, and they're talking about how it tastes good. Well, I don't give a goddamn how good it tastes. I ain't eating bugs. That's it. You know, I mean, if a fly flies in my mouth, I spit it out. I don't fucking swallow it.
No, it's true. Well, I mean, you know, these suckers like Tucker Carlson, whatever his name is, uh, they got money. They'll never hurt. They'll buy the best meat they can buy. You know what I mean? They're not.
Well,
You know.
they'll be under the same constraints, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if they are forced to tell people what Carl Swats want to know, they'll live a good life. Yeah, I mean, it's obedience. I mean, they got money. I mean, Hannity himself has over $350 million.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, these guys are making money hands and foot.
Yeah, but see, those people with less than $1 billion, even the billionaires will get eaten up by the higher ups. You know, they're not safe. A lot of billionaires will not be safe because you can't have. Look at how many billionaires there are now in the world. You know, you're not going to have that many in the elite structure.
Well, you know, Bezos, the Amazon,
Yeah,
the fat cat.
he's up there in the top 5, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he was worried about it because he says he told everybody, don't buy big TV sets. Don't go above your means. Don't even buy for me, you know, big TV sets at my place. That's what he said. I'll have it out there in just a short.
Well, I know. I seen that, but yeah, but he's not saying that because of the CDC. He's saying that because of the uncertainty in the financial markets and the economy as a whole. I mean, you know, what are the big guys that are wealthy? What are they saying? They're saying, you know, have as much in cash as you can. They call it dry powder. Keep your powder dry. Keep that dry powder so that when everything gets cheap, you go in and buy. Well, the average person, is not going to be able to go out and buy apartment buildings and houses like these wealthier ones will. But that's how they'll. But that's what they'll do. And I mean, they're all saying pretty much the same thing. Right now is the time to be in cash for them. But for the average Joe and Jane on the street, making 50, 60, $80,000 a year, even, they're not going to have enough dry powder to go out and buy apartment complexes and houses and all this stuff when they get cheap, or anything else that gets cheap that would be an investment. So that's not a solution for the average person.
No, it's not. I agree. I do. I agree with you 100%. Well, I mean, it's going to be up to the American people, because they are going to get bit right in their asses, and we're going to be with it. I know that for a fact. But I am not going. My freedom is more important than their tyranny. You know what I mean? It is.
Yeah, I'm not going to die a slave after living. I didn't join the military to fight for slavery. I didn't, and I'm not going to do it.
76 million people died in World War II fighting China, Japan, and Germany, and that's counting our allies that helped us out. 76 million people. That's a lot of people. 76 million. Jeez, oh man. That's just amazing.
Yeah. and we have yet to see what is going to happen as the dollar no longer becomes the dominant world currency. And I'm not saying that it's going to, happen overnight, but one guy was talking about you're going to have economic zones. There's going to be countries that are going to be trading different currencies for different things. It's not going to be dollar denominated. And there's every reason in the world for them to do it, if you understand the finances and how things are working around the world. Because if they want to buy oil right now, take Guyana, which is the one link that I sent you, that they have decided that they're going to purchase oil with gold. Okay, so they're not going to use the dollar. Well, what happens if they use the dollar? Well, if the dollar is expensive right now, which it is, it's pretty strong. That means that they have to buy those dollars in their currency, and their currency is weaker than the dollar, so they have to print more of their currency to buy the dollar so that they can then purchase the oil. So what that does to their country is it creates inflation, because they have to print and print and print. In some of these third world countries, their currency is pretty low, and their central banks, they don't have a way to deal with it. They don't have a way to deal with it. So, it's almost a guaranteed method to keep people poor.
Oh, for sure. That's the whole bottom line. It's not to help the people. It's not about the environment. It sounds good. It's just a facade. It's a lie. To make people believe, wow, we're gonna ruin America. We're gonna ruin the world. Now they're talking about they want a whole bunch of money. Carl Schwab does, as you already, to buy trees. They're not going to buy trees. They're going to hoard the money.
Well, even if they do, there is very little carbon capture in trees. Number one, you got to go out and plant them. Number two, it takes years from them to grow at any size. And they'll probably end up harvesting those trees. I mean, it's just like the lumber companies, the big lumber companies here in the U.S., they replant trees all the time. But then when they need lumber, what do? They go and harvest the ones they planted 20, 30 years ago. So, And then when they harvest a section of land with those trees on it, then they'll replant it. So has that helped the carbon footprint? Hell no, it hasn't. And there's very little carbon capture with trees. Now, rainforest, that's different, but you can't you can't go in there and replenish the rainforest because there's such a variety of different vegetation, different trees and things like that. You can't recreate it. So where the carbon capture comes from is seaweed and mangroves. Now, like along Florida, you cannot disturb the mangroves. You know, you can't use them for anything. You can't cut them down. Well, there's big fines. You'd probably end up in jail, in fact. But the mangroves, seaweed, stuff like that is where all the carbon capture is. I mean, they capture 10 times more than a tree would. So there's a company that is put together. It's a private company at this time, and they're going around and getting royalties on all this mangroves and seaweed and all this. They're getting royalties on it, so they can sell carbon. What do they call that when oh, there's a name for it. You're selling carbon. In other words, your carbon footprint is too big, but in order to get under it, you can go buy carbon credits from somebody who has them. So say that somebody is down to 0 carbon, you know, and yet they can have maybe 10%, 20%, whatever, according to the industry they're in. So they can then sell the carbon credits to someone else. And what does that do? That doesn't do a goddamn thing to help anybody. It's just a money transfer. It's a scheme. It's a fucking ripoff is what it is, to make everything more expensive. And, you know, it's crazy.
And the bad thing about it is these people who are starting this, implementing the CBDC and this new Green Deal, this reset, they themselves are going to be flying all over the place, eating the best of everything, you know, having heat in their home, enjoying life, having the freedom to go anywhere they want to. Why us, we're going to be in tyranny, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every doggone corner, we're going to have to check our ID, you know what I mean? Martial law is coming. It is, they want this. They want this so bad. Right now, Joe Bite Me's trying to stop our gun rights again, trying to get rid of our semi-automatics, you know?
Oh, yeah. And once they get that central bank digital currency, they'll definitely do it because
Yeah.
they won't allow it. You know, all they have to do is push a button, boom. You don't buy that.
Nope, nothing. You know, get rid of your guns, and we might consider doing it. Might. You know, people just. It's going to come to concentration camps too. It's going to be coming. Believe me, they're going to exterminate us and everything else. That's what they want: extermination.
Well, the whole everything within the boundaries of the United States will be a concentration camp when you get down to it,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have any free will to decide for yourself anymore.
No.
You may decide for yourself you want this. Well, if they don't agree with it, they don't want to go along with it. Well, you're not buying it, or because they're not going to allow you to spend money on it because everything goes through them. They're going to be able to track and red flag any and everything that they want, and shut you off or restrict you in any way they feel, any way they desire. It's their desire. It's all it is.
And if they want to come in your home, just bust down the door. What are you going to do about it? Not a damn thing. They can take anything they want. They can do anything they want to do. This is going to happen. People just don't understand, or they don't care, or they just, I don't know. You know.
Well, you know, they always said that, you know, uh, the downfall of empire starts from within, and one way to start it is getting the people will do it to themselves, and that's what they'll do when they sign up for this digital currency. They'll be doing it to themselves, and they're too stupid to know it. Not everybody. There are people who do understand what's happening, but it seems to be a small percent, and a great number of them. I would expect in Generation Z, especially, they'll welcome it. They'll think it's wonderful because all they have to do is use their little phone and, make their transaction, and it's instantaneous and it's wonderful, and it's high tech, and they're walking right into slavery.
It's going to be fun. They're just. All right, let me start this up. I got another one after this. I'm going to use that one that you showed me with Klaus Schwab. I'm going to put an audio on it, so then we'll go back to this. Hold on here. Okay, here we go.
The cryptocurrency exchange FTX blew up a couple weeks ago. It looks like one of the biggest, maybe the single biggest financial scam in history. And you have to wonder, how was this allowed? So the head of the company was all over the media, and in a number of interviews, he was wearing shorts and playing video games. Why did nobody notice? And where were the regulators? Where was Gary Gensler? Well, they were apparently giving this guy a pass because they knew him or they agreed with his politics. So they're not being punished for what they allowed to happen. Thousands of people defrauded out of their life savings. Instead, they're using the collapse of FTX to their own advantage to push for something called central bank digital currency, CBDC. Now, what is central bank digital currency? Well, that's where all financial transactions are effectively controlled by the central bank, really by the government. And as we saw in Canada last winter, if they don't like what you're doing, they can zero out your savings with a keystroke. So you have no autonomy whatsoever. You are completely under the control of the people in charge, who, by the way, may hate you. So this appears to be coming in this country. Several banks have announced already that they're working with the Fed to implement a CBDC. Once again, if this happens, we're done. No more political debate. We will have unprecedented levels of regulation, of surveillance, and of control. It's effectively Chinese social credit scores come to America. Russell Brand recently explained all of this in a clip of the new Prime Minister of the UK, Rishi Sunak, boosting a CBDC for England. Watch this.
He's a keen advocate of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Here he is, in fact, advocating for them.
Today, I'm proud to say that under the UK's presidency, the group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote.
I like it, because we've got a broad concept. What if this person's an idiot? Which we think that they are. It's like a digital penny for your digital money box, for your digital hole that you live in. You will own nothing. You will be happy.
That could be used alongside physical notes and coins.
For now, till we phase them out, if you start any little trucker protests, where's my money gone? The digital piggy bank is broken, I'm afraid. Start being a bit more cooperative.
Unlike most of the digital money people use daily today, it would be issued directly by a central bank, like the Bank of England in the UK.
That's good, a central bank. Nothing wrong with centralised authority, centralised power, globalist decrees coming down from on high, avoiding democracy. That's exactly what we want. Keep talking.
And governments and central banks across the world are working together.
Oh, really? They're working together? Well, that's just such great news. The IMF, the World Bank. Why don't we involve the WEF and the WHO? What we need are unelected global bodies that have been able to co-opt political power, respond to financial power, and ignore and oppress ordinary people. Whether it's the recent medical emergency or the cost of living crisis, we're seeing the benefits all around us. I can't wait for your next policy. You're going to take our money now. This is great.
Looking into what having a digital currency might mean in practice.
I think I know what it means in practice. More power for you, no power for us.
This includes issues that people care about, such as ensuring users' money would be safe and secure, that it could work with other ways to pay, be energy efficient.
Oh, it's got to be energy efficient. I was about to say, is it energy efficient? Is it energy efficient? I've got to make sure. Oh, a few other questions. You wouldn't use this ever, would you, to implement control or to advance social credit type systems or to shut down the bank accounts of people you disagree with or to surveil people and have a surveillance network that you've developed in conjunction with big tech and now a financial arm that you're developing so that you can lock step together and gridlock us in a digital prison of surveillance tyranny?
Answer to those questions? Oh, yeah. Vivek Ramaswamy is one of the smartest people we ever talked to, author of Nation of Victims, joins us tonight to assess. So, Vic, thanks for coming on. So here you have regulators in the United States failing in the most obvious possible way to rein in this cryptocurrency exchange. And then in the wake of that, they're not punished, but they've decided they're going to use it to get more power for themselves. Am I misreading what's happening here?
I think you're reading it correctly. As the expression goes, never let a good crisis go to waste. Now, I think these CBDCs here in the US are a really bad idea, Tucker, for a few reasons, but it's worth knowing the reason that economists supposedly support it, right? So the main argument is they say that actually China is doing it and the US will be less competitive and that the dollar would be less strong if the US fails to keep up. There are so many things wrong with that argument, but the first and most obvious is that that's a good path to get us to be more like China, which is not a good way for the US to go in terms of being a surveillance state. And actually, it's exactly for that reason that if you think about it, the US could actually have a stronger dollar if it does not jump onto the CBDC bandwagon, because people might want to actually hold a currency that doesn't allow them to be the subject of surveillance and control. So you could make the argument equally in reverse about the supposed strong dollar that we're going to miss out on without the CBDCs. And this is, of course, against the backdrop that you know well, Tucker, which is the fetishization of the strong dollar as supposedly a good end-all, be-all anyway. That's right. It actually hurts American manufacturers, and there's a very good reason why China has artificially tried to depress its currency to have a weaker yuan. So on many levels, the argument fails.
This is not an investment show, but since you're very fluent in this language and knowledgeable, what will this do to gold prices? I mean, if they get close to this, a lot of people are just going to try to opt out of the system, correct?
I would think that it has a big effect, a positive effect on gold prices. Markets have been a little bit weird in the last year where gold certainly hasn't gone up as you might have actually otherwise predicted it to in normal times. But against that backdrop, though, when you ultimately all forms of paper become meaningless and actually go into digital currencies that could be means of governments effectuating control, that might be the last stand for actually gold finally having the last laugh at the end of the day. But more importantly, Tucker, is we should not see this great reset, this dissolution of boundaries between the public and private sector, between different nations, ultimately create this new world order. And CBDCs, mark my words, are just the symptom of that deeper cancer.
Well, that is exactly right. So nicely put. Vic, it's great to see you tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
tells it like it is.
Well, there's just one thing I'm going to point out where Tucker gets it wrong. He says, well, essentially it's the government, but it's not. It is the Federal Reserve, the central bank, a private organization, and they're doing this pilot program up in New York out of the New York Fed with the various banks, which are also private organizations. But let's put it this way. Not all Democrats are Marxist, but all Marxists are Democrats. You can wrap your head around that. In other words, there are some Democrats that may not be Marxist and may not vote for some of these things, but the Congress knows about this. In fact, it was even mentioned, I think it was either by Senator Kennedy or there was another guy that was speaking, I forget who, but they are aware of this. And, you know, this needs to get out on a really wide scale, and it really needs to be in the consciousness of the American people as a whole, so that they know what this is and understand what this is and what it means. So it isn't the government that is doing it, but the government may approve of it. That's the other thing, because it's almost like a whistleblower. Imagine that you're everyone in the House of Representatives, everyone in the Senate, and then the president. Imagine that they are I lost my train of thought there for a minute. But imagine that they are whistleblowers. Just say that. They're whistleblowers, okay? Well, what happens to a lot of whistleblowers? They get retaliated against. They get punished. And the global elites are in a position to punish the government, every member of Congress, every member of the Senate. If they bring this digital currency into being, they will be able to control them just like they control the peons and plebes and rubes down here in the average Joe, average Jane working life, because they'll be retaliated against. They could shut their digital currency off. They could keep them from flying, you know. And now this, it's such an evil and despicable and psychopathic idea that they're trying to do this. I mean, and then you put that in conjunction with the UN and the World Health Organization, and you know, unless you have all the jabs that they want you to have, you're not leaving the country. And you know, Nazi Germany, you used to have to show your papers. Well, now, in order to fly from state to state domestically, you have to have that special license. And if you don't have that, you're not getting on a plane to fly domestically. And it doesn't matter how many jabs you have. If you don't have that particular ID or a passport, you're not going. They're not going to let you on the plane. So, I mean, it couldn't be more Orwellian than that. I mean, it's not coming at us from any one angle. It's coming at us from every angle. They're in your health, they're in your finances, they're in your life with a microscope. They're looking in every orifice of your body. They want to know everything.
Well, yeah, when you talk about that real ID, they call it, yeah, with the star in the corner of it, the right-hand corner of the license before you fly domestically.
Yeah.
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 Yep. That's,
So you got all these draconian psychopathic ideas coming at you all at once, and you don't hear very many people even sounding the alarm, and the people in government are just beginning to talk about it a little bit, but not much. You know, I did see one deal. It was a press conference in the Congress where they did bring it up, and so Congress is aware of it. They understand it. They know about it, and to go along with it. And where it came up is in one of the bills. They had a number of things, and the Democrats are trying to pass this bill. And one of the things that they had in there was any transaction $600 or greater, they are going to look at it. They're going to scrutinize it. So what that really is telling you is they're going to look at everything, you know, everyone. Is there a person out there that hasn't spent over $600 at some time? You buy a car, you buy a house, you buy property, you take a vacation, you know, you buy an airplane ticket. You know, I've had airplane tickets cost me over $1,000. So, you know, they're going to be in everybody's business. And so they did a breakdown. They say, well, the reason they want to do that is they want the wealthy to pay taxes. They think that the wealthy are not paying their fair share of taxes. So they say that anybody below $400,000 is not going to be impacted by this legislation. Well, if that was the case, why don't they just put that in the legislation that they're not going to, unless you make that income level, your transactions are not going to be looked at. You're not going to be investigated. Well, who's going to do the investigation? Well, the IRS is going to do it. So, you know, all those thousands of people that they put money for to hire those IRS agents, what do you think they're going to be doing? They're going to be looking at the little guys, because the people that are over the $400,000 to $500,000 range, the percentage of those people that they could collect from is minuscule compared to the number of people underneath that $400,000 cutoff. So it's just, you know, they're lying to people, and they're deceiving people, and they're doing it because they want total control of your life.
my question is if we have money, paper money, why do they want to go to digital currency? I mean, what's the difference? There's got to be a big difference between that. It's control. It's what it is. It has nothing to do about how dirty our money is when we grab it. We've been doing it for years.
Oh, no, that's just an excuse.
Yeah.
That's just an excuse. You could take currency, and you could dip it in a 92% alcohol, you know, and let it dry out, you know, and it'll dry out relatively quickly. You won't change the currency if you're that afraid of your money, of your paper money. I mean, you could do that, and it wouldn't bleed, in other words, and become a worthless piece of paper. It would stay the same. It would just dry out and be, you know, germ free. So if you were really if you're that afraid of paper money, just use your card. But look, you go to use your card, everybody else is using that same device that you're pushing numbers on. You put your bank card in that little machine, whatever they call it, and then you press those numbers. Well, hell, everybody's doing that. So you're passing the same germs on that you would be passing on with money. So what difference does it make? That's a bullshit excuse.
Yeah, it is. Hold on here. I'm going to play this. Tell me if you can hear it, okay? I want to put this thing on so people can hear it. It's going to be a little bit loud. If it's too loud, tell me and I'll turn it down somewhat, okay?
Yeah. I see Graham here. He says, once my plan is in effect. I don't know what that means. He has a plan. Once it's in effect, has he got a plan to get around this CDC? I don't know.
If we ever give him come up here to talk to us, it'd be nice. Hold on here. All right. That's going to be just about 18. There's probably commercials on this, so I'm going to have to cut it off and then start over again, go beyond that. Hold on. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
There we
Whatever.
Hello, fellow rebel capitalists. Hope you're well. So we've got some breaking news. An interview has been leaked or released, if you will, with Klaus Schwab.
Oh, hold on. Something just happened here. Shut up. Let me try it again.
Klaus Schwab, he's the leader, founder of the World Economic Forum. He's the he's the guy at the top in the food chain.
He's the leader. He's the leader of everything. He's the one that's going to get the set for the Antichrist. There we go.
His entire worldview and his game plan. I always say that these people are central planners at heart. And you get a lot of pushback, and people say, oh, you're a tinfoil hatter, and you're a conspiracy theorist, and blah, 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 blah. But these people that push back, let's call them your friend and family member Freds, they just haven't taken the time to just listen to what the guy's saying. Because if you just simply listen, it's all right there. It's in broad daylight. He doesn't really hide it. Now, he speaks in very broad, general terms, so you can't really pin him down. But just listen to the things that he's saying, and it's just blatantly clear that he believes there's this group of global elite that should be ruling over the other 8 billion people on the planet Earth to achieve their objectives, because whatever they see is the right path forward, then that's just set in stone. This is gospel, and this is what all of us plebs and peons should get behind. Check out this interview. I think it's really going to just sit down for this one, because if you haven't heard Klaus Schwab speak, and if you don't really know what his true intentions are, I think this is really going to open your eyes, and it's going to startle you. So let me go over to this page. Josh, I've got to pull up on my end.
Hi, my name is Steven Sitkowski, and I am the Chief Investment Officer for Market Mastery Group, and we're a team of folks dedicated to show
This page. Josh, I've got it pulled up on my end. Okay, and here we go. I'm just going to play about a minute or minute and a half of this. It's pretty much all you need to see where he's going.
With our capability to carry on this kind of discussion in the right direction.
We have to define the specific elements of the global system. For example, nature and environment, climate change, and then to see what are actually the areas where we can make true progress, where we can have a real impact. I'm very glad that China is integrated into our initiative to plant 1 trillion trees in the next 10 years by making its own contribution. We have to try.
And first of all, these contributions are integrating into their plan to plant 1 trillion trees or whatever it is. I mean, these things are just an absolute boondoggle. And of course, the reporter there, Gals, is like, yes, oh, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be incredible, 1 trillion trees. And they always talk about these things, and they never get done. They never get done. And even if they do get done, I mean, at what price? Let's do a cost-benefit analysis. And we just throw out these blind intentions that really sound awesome, and then we don't even care about analyzing the results or getting them done at all. Just as long as we're out there saying things that make people feel good. And why does he do this? Because it allows him to gain favor, political favor, and it allows him to usurp power and control.
With a collaborative platform where we integrate the best people, the most relevant people.
Hear that? Where we integrate the best people, the most relevant people. So if you ask George Gammon, or if you ask a fellow rebel capitalist who the best people are, it's all of us. That's the magic of free market capitalism, is it's decentralized, if you will. It's bottoms up. So the people that really matter in society are the truck drivers, are the entrepreneurs, are the people that are going out there working 80 hours a week, specializing in producing goods and services. These are the heroes, right? Who do you think Klaus Schwab is talking about? He's simply talking about the global elite, the people that he deems appropriate, the people that are flying to Davos on their private jet. And then what else does he say? He says we need to integrate these people. So when he sees someone who is quote unquote talented, like Trudeau, then basically he brings them under his wing and he tries to, first of all, cultivate their ideas, influence them, and then integrate them into politics in a position of power. Because then if they're merely his puppet, then Klaus Schwab himself doesn't have to be the ruler over all of these countries. He can have the Trudeaus, basically his disciples, his acolytes, and they're doing his bidding for him. This is exactly what he's talking about here. Just for heaven's sakes, read between the lines. And if you say, "Oh, George, I think you're seeing too, you're reading too much into this," I'd say, listen, just hear him out and just observe. Pay attention to how he talks. And can you imagine any normal person saying that? Can you imagine me coming out at Rebel Capitalist Live or on an interview or, going on Fox Business or something and saying that there's just this small group of people that basically need to be in control of everywhere? And what does he say? Let's use his exact words here.
Collaborative platform where we integrate the best people, the most relevant people.
Where I told Charles Payne that, well, what we need to do in society is we need to integrate the best people and the most relevant people. Can you even imagine me saying that? Or any of you? No. I see what's the solution to the problem? For all of us, the average Joe and Jane, to get out there and be allowed to do what we do best. It's not tops down. No, we don't need to isolate the best and the most promising or whatever he says. No, we need to release all of the normal people out there from the shackles of big government, central planning, authoritarians, and Klaus Schwab himself.
And then to work for progress.
And then work for progress. You see, who defines what progress is? Oh, well, it just happens to be Klaus Schwab. So we need to find all of the people with a lot of potential, the best people, like Trudeau, and then we need to make sure we brainwash them so they're out there fighting for progress as defined by me.
Now the base has been formed, but we have to go one step further. We have to have a strategic mood. We have to construct the world of tomorrow.
We have to have a strategic move. We have to construct the world of tomorrow. He's talking about the global elite here, guys. He's not talking about the people that are on this live stream right now need to construct the world of tomorrow. He's not talking about the children. He's not talking about the next generation. He's talking about the World Economic Forum, the IMF, the UN, the politicians, and all of the corporate stooges that he controls. He's saying we, the global elite, need to construct the future based on what we see fit. And then you study their history and say, oh, wow, these guys are part of this Malthusian cult. So what do you think that future entails? Easy. Using less energy, reducing the population. This ain't rocket science. Again, just listen to what they say.
A systemic transformation of the world. So we have
I mean, this keeps getting better and better and better. A systemic transformation of the world. And you say, well, George, that could mean anything. But no. Not if you go back and study history of the World Economic Forum, of the Club of Rome, of the Malthusian cult. If you go back and read what they say, and if you study the initiatives and the narratives they've pushed in the future, it's no secret what he's talking about right here. He's talking about central planning. He's talking about Marxism. Plain and simple. He's talking about economic fascism. So when I talk about Marxism, I'm talking about central planning. I'm using that term too loosely here. What he's really talking about is central planning with a layer of economic fascism, where there is a public-private partnership, but where the means of production maybe are owned by the private sector, but by the private sector, but the public sector is controlling the private sector. And who is controlling the public sector? That would be Klaus Schwab.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Turns out that a book
to define how the world should look like.
I mean, I can't even go 3 seconds without stopping. We need to define how the world should look like. Can you imagine saying that out loud? That this small group of people, out of all the 8 billion, this small group of people at the top need to define what the entire world should look like for everyone else. Think about the level of narcissism. Think about how much of a psychopath you would have to be to say that out loud. Or even to say it with internal dialogue.
Which we want to come out of this transformation period.
Earlier, we have the great.
And then there you go, out of this transformation period, the Great Reset agenda. Right? Remember, the cerveza sickness is an opportunity to implement and create the world that we see in our dreams, basically. And this socialist, this Marxist, this economic fascist type of utopian vision, right? I mean, let me go back, because I know I chopped it quite a bit there. Let me go back and just play this.
A strategic mood. We have to construct the world of tomorrow. It's a systemic transformation of the world. So we have to define how the world should look like, which we want to come out of this transformation period.
Unbelievable. I mean, seriously, guys, for your friends and family members, Freds, that don't take this seriously or call you a conspiracy theorist or whatever, just take this clip, for heaven's sakes, just this 1 minute clip, and give it to them and say, here, just what are your thoughts on this? How do you come to any other conclusion than this person is an economic fascist, a central planner, an authoritarian that wants to shape the world in in his utopian vision, he wants to shape the world in this image that he defines as what it should be, right? That these 100,000 people at the top are making the decisions on the entire planet for the rest of the 8 billion people. I mean, this is literally what he's saying. And I didn't even listen to the whole interview, for heaven's sakes. I mean, just play the whole thing. I'm sure it doesn't get any better. Bottom line is, all you have to do is just listen to that 1 minute, and you get he reveals his true intentions, just like we say at the title of this video. And it should scare the hell out of you. It really should. But that's not I think it should scare the hell out of you, but it should prompt you into taking action and realizing how important it is to push back and to have this great sense of urgency in understanding that the only thing that stands between Klaus and our personal freedom and liberty is we, the people, the rebel capitalists, standing up together and pushing back against this using civil disobedience and just flat out saying no. Flat out saying no. Whatever his narrative is, whatever he's trying to push through the mainstream media, we just stand up and say, no, we're not going to take it. We're not going to do it. Just like the lockdowns. Remember, if all of us would have just stood up and said, no, we're not going to stay in our house. No, we're not going to, be in the metaverse for the rest of our lives. We are going to go outside no matter what you say. I'm going to go walk my dog. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to open my business. I'm going to go in there and teach the children. And I'm going to take my children to school. If all of us would have said that, what would the politicians have done? Nothing. They couldn't do anything. The military is not big enough if we all stand together. The police force isn't big enough. Klaus isn't strong enough. There's just far more of us than there is of them. And the only thing they could have done in that situation is just sit back and say, oh, okay, I guess we're not doing the lockdowns. But it's up to the people to wake up to what is happening in the world around you. You can't just whistle past the graveyard. You can't just sleepwalk through life with your head buried in the sand like an ostrich. And just anything that makes you uncomfortable, you just kind of point and stutter and say conspiracy theorist, misinformation, disinformation, aye. And that's what people are doing nowadays. Fortunately, you're part of the rebel capitalist community, and you can see through this. But if you were on the fence, I would suggest going back, watching that clip a few times, and just see yourself saying those same things, or try to imagine yourself saying those same things. And I think you'll come to the exact same conclusion I came to. And that is that anyone that would say that in an interview or even think that, that's the way forward, that's the solution here to all of our problems. They have to be not only a psychopath, but you've got to put them in his intentions may be good, but those are the worst type of psychopaths. And Milton Friedman points this out when he compares the dude that ran Germany in the 1930s to Mussolini. He said the dude that ran Germany in the 30s was far worse. Why was he worse? Because he didn't want to just usurp power and control. He truly thought what he was doing was good. By eradicating, by killing all those people, he truly thought that he was a martyr. Where Mussolini, all he cared about was power. And I'll let you be the judge. Which box, which category do you put Klaus in after listening to that 1 minute clip? All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. As always, make sure that you're standing up for freedom, liberty, and pushing back against these authoritarians. standing up for free market capitalism. We'll see you on the next video.
There it is.
Well, hey, let me start by apologizing to. I don't see the comments on the device that I have unless they're highlighted. So apparently, a guy in chat had put some comments in. I didn't see them, and then you highlighted one or something, and I didn't understand what it was. So anyway, you went back and put his prior comments that he put in chat. You put that up, and so now I understand what he's saying. So anyway, if there's a misunderstanding there on my part, I apologize for that. But I don't think I said anything bad necessarily. I was curious. Well, what is he talking about? Anyway, one thing I would have to say, I don't know if people remember Pinky and the Brain. It was kind of a comedy thing, a cartoon like, kind of like the Flintstones, only it was Pinky and the Brain. And the Brain was always going to take over the world. I mean, every episode was, what are we going to do today, Brain? We're going to take over the world. And they would go through all these things trying to take over the world, and it would end in a complete disaster. And that's why the next show, they started out the same way. What are we going to do today? Well, we're going to take over the world, and they're going to do it in a different way than what they had tried prior. And that's what we're dealing with here when we're dealing with Klaus Schwab. You know, he's the brain, and all these politicians like Joe Biden and Trudeau and Macron of France and the guy from Germany, all these leaders, they're the peewees. They're the peewees, the puppets of the brain.
Well, they are the disease. We are the cure. If people want to stick together, and that's the problem. People got their head in the sand. They're not listening. They don't care about listening. They don't think it's going to happen to them. When it happens to them, when they have to give up their guns, even their food, you know, give us your food or you're not going to get paid. Anything. Give us your wealth or we're not going to give you wealth. You know what I mean? A little change here and there. They can do whatever they want to do, manipulate you in any given form they want to.
If you look at, see, people haven't, they haven't suffered enough yet to pay attention. That's part of the problem. Because if you look at over the holidays, the airports were full, right? I mean, that's the reports I was getting. I mean, there was all the seats on the plane were full. The airports were full. You go to, what was it, Black Friday or whatever it is they call it. And there's, in these major cities, there's lines everywhere, people shopping, trying to get everything. See, people haven't suffered enough. They haven't got to that point. It's coming, but we're not there yet. It's kind of like the old saying, you know, well, how are you going to get that kid's attention? Well, hit him with, you know, hit him with a stick, you know, get his attention and then educate him. Well, the stick is when they can't get on that plane, when they can't go where they want to go, where they can't eat what they want to eat, you know, that will start getting their attention. That will start waking them up. There's no amount of talking out here that we could do to wake anybody up, in my opinion. The only thing we can do is give them the information so that when they do wake up, they can understand what the hell is happening to them.
Well, you know what's going to happen, though? What's going to happen all at one time where they can't think. It's going to be so much chaos at one time. They're going to it's like, you know, they're coming after your guns. Well, if you know that, you might as well just hang it up and give it to them because there's no place to hide them because you weren't aware of it at the time until they said, hey, we're coming after your guns. You know what I mean? Or your
well, yeah, but we're at that point now where they're coming at us from every angle. So, and that is starting to wake people up. You have people that their guns are the most important thing in their life. They go out, they shoot regular, maybe they hunt, they collect guns, they have a lot of ammunition. They, you know, that gun is the most important thing in their life. And you have other people that have other things that are the most important thing in their life. It might be traveling. How many people have thought of retiring, getting in a motorhome and going all around the country, or maybe, you know, retiring and taking a tour of Europe, or, you know, you got all kinds of people out there with all kinds of ideas and all kinds of plans, but none of those things are going to happen unless you comply. And I don't mean to say unless you comply. They're not going to happen if you comply with what's coming down with the central bank digital currency, because that is total control by these central planners, these Malthusians, as he calls them, the Malthusians cult. And if you look at it also, look what is happening with these companies, with these corporations. That thing that they call ESG. I think you did a stream on ESG, if I remember right.
I think I did too. And I can't remember what it was about, but yeah, go on. I guess. Yeah.
Well, basically, it's your carbon footprint. It's your, you know, if you're not virtue signaling that you're going along with this climate program that they want to stuff down your throat and up your backside, if you're not going along with that, see, you're not in step. And that ESG is like a marker, you know. It's a way to get where they want you to go. And in other words, here's what's happening. This is why we have a fascist system right now, because you have government just like they were, the Justice Department was colluding with corporations to censor speech. And that was happening at Twitter. It was happening elsewhere. Facebook is the one that blew that open. I think Mark Zuckerberg, he's the one that brought that to the forefront when he did an interview. So that's illegal to begin with. But the Justice Department has been doing it. And Josh Hawley, when he pulled in Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, head of the Justice Department, he laid it out. He had the emails from the Department of Justice talking about this, committing these crimes, and they are crimes. So it's also a crime in commerce for these central banks to basically do a power grab to control everyone's money, because it is interrupting interstate commerce. And if we had a real Justice Department instead of a bunch of
corruption,
bunch of Marxists in there, they would be prosecuting these people, you know. But their whole idea is to prosecute the party that is their competitor. In other words, the Democrats want to prosecute Republicans. The Republicans are going to turn their attention to the Democrats now. Nothing's going to happen. Big dog and pony show. But what they should be going after is they should be going after these corporations that are the puppets of Klaus Schwab. I believe it's criminal what they're doing. I believe there's a number of ways they're breaking the law.
Well, sure they are, but just like anything else, your city, county, state, and government, they're all corrupt. It's a cancer. It's all around. and they're all making money. They don't give a damn about us. They don't give
Oh,
a nothing about us.
well, I know. You know,
People won't stick up for themselves. You know what I mean?
well, some people will.
Not enough. Not enough people. We need more
Well,
people who understand.
we need more, but we need more. But you know, you've got to hold out some hope here. You can't just say they don't give a shit about us. Well, who gives a shit about me more than me?
Mhm.
Nobody. If I don't care about me, certainly nobody else is going to care about me. So I have to care about myself more than I care about anybody else. Because if I don't take care of myself, I can't help anybody else if I decide I want to help someone. So that is the situation that we're all in. And eventually, when people understand what the hell is going on, if they don't see that it's not in their benefit, they're not going to want, they won't do it. And it's certainly not in your benefit to become a slave under the central banks. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, it did. It did. I'm just digesting it. That's all. I mean, you can see how many people are here right now. You know, they don't believe it. You know, it's just, well, I got 2 people here, bless their hearts. But, you know, I should have a lot more people than this by now. You know what I mean? I mean, again, I don't sugarcoat anything. You know that, and neither do you. We're trying to tell the people the truth, but they're just not buying it. I don't know what it is that they're not buying. I mean, it's right there. It's obvious what's going to happen to them. You know, when their guns are taken away, that's when they're going to wake up. When they don't have any more money, where they're going to be
well,
slaves.
well, that's where uh, people need to reach out. Anyone who does hear what's going on, they need to reach out to people in the gun community and make them realize, help educate them to the point that they realize, especially those people who the gun is the most important thing. It's one of them. It's their hobby. It's whatever. Maybe it's their livelihood. Maybe they own a firing range. Maybe they own a gunsmith shop or whatever. These people are going to lose what is important to them. And if you start reaching out to various people in those various communities, pretty soon you have a lot more people informed. Because as soon as you say, well, here's how they're going to take away your gun, you're going to get somebody listening to if they're a gun enthusiast, if they're, you know, really involved in it. But there's
Well,
other areas too. Finance is another one.
I went after Joe Cool a little bit today. You know, I explained to him what was going on. Beautiful video he put out there. But I told him, I said, your days are numbered, more or less, you know. You're a cop activist because the CBDC's coming up. I told him he could grab one of my videos, you know, and use it to other people if he wanted to. But I just wrote to him about an hour ago, so he might be sleeping right now. But I'll find out what happens, see if he understands what's going on or not. Because it
Well,
will.
yeah, you're right. You're right. All these auditors will be out of business. They will not tolerate the narrative that they're putting out about their activism. They won't entertain those folks for a minute. They will shut them off to where they have no money at all. Just like they did the Canadian truckers that they went after and shut their accounts out, zeroed their accounts out. They'll do the same thing if they get this thing through. So there'll be none of that, because you're going to go along with their program, or you're going to be retaliated and punished.
And punishment they'll do too. They will. They'll make it so doggone miserable for you, it'll be unreal, you know.
Well, yeah, you won't be able to go any place and buy food.
Nope. Medical.
Because these businesses won't accept anything but that digital currency.
They should be. I hate to tell you this, they should be shut down. These businesses, you know, they're half of them are for China anyway. A lot of the businesses are doing business with China because there's nothing here in America no more. We lost everything.
All the manufacturing is over there.
Yeah,
That's how they're getting their products made. They have to go along with what China wants. They have to go along with what Schwab wants. If they don't go along and become one of his puppets and push down his programs, then they're going to be retaliated against also. Look at Elon Musk, and I don't care how rich you are. I mean, isn't Elon Musk the richest person in the world, according to some?
Yep.
So, I mean, they're going after him. They want to damage him as much as they can because he won't go along with their narrative. He actually believes in free speech. He thinks you ought to be able to exchange your ideas through speech and be able to talk in a way that we were able to talk years ago without worrying about how you said something. You know, you could speak in plain language and get your point across. You didn't have to threaten anybody. People didn't threaten people back then when they were debating ideas. But now, if you have an idea that is different from their idea, they will cancel you. They don't want you out there with your ideas informing people of something that goes against what they want.
Sick people. That's what made America strong, bickering back and forth, you know, deciding things, you know, the do's and don'ts. Now it's their way, and that's it. No more.
Yeah, because they're gods now. That's what they're actually pretending. And in their own minds, they are so superior, so much smarter than everybody else. They're going to decide how the world is going to evolve, how humanity is going to evolve according to their plan, because they're that smart. They have to be in charge. They will be in charge because they're godlike. And that's how they think.
Wow. That is one sick. Wow. I've never seen a person yet could just produce a plant out of the air, you know? For God, yeah. Well, they call themselves unconscious gods or
Demagogues or something.
demigods. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah, they even said it in that Club of Rome. That woman was given that speech that those people in that room, those elites that were listening to her, had a higher consciousness than all us average Joes and Janes out here in the world. You know, they had a higher consciousness. In other words, they're connected to some superpower in the universe, and we're not. So we have to become the little ants in their hive. We can't be the queen bee. We can't be the queen ant, you know. We have to be the drones that are born to work and produce and die. And that is what we have to look forward to forever.
Why they sit back and do nothing at all but just rule the world. Well, you know what's going to help them out is that AI, artificial intelligence. That's going to find out everything. You know what I mean? They're going to know where you're at, what time you're at, what you're doing. See, you know, with the CCTV. Yeah, it's all done by an artificial intelligence. That's how they're going to do it.
Yeah, that's going to be a component of it. They're probably a lot more further advanced, and they're probably getting advice now about how to do it through. They probably run some AI scenarios, and worked out a lot of the kinks because they pretty well got this plan put together and they're implementing it. And they have been for a long time, really.
Mm-hmm.
But now, and now instead of hiding it, they're coming right out saying it.
Mm-hmm. This is something they wanted to do for many, many generations. You know, many decades. This is something they've been in the works for years and years and years and years and years, you know. This ain't something that just came out of the whim. This is what it was all about. Total control. And you know what amazes me? Because we have the House and Senate, we got what, 500 and some people to run that damn thing? They're all connected.
Yeah.
They're all 500 and some people. They're all connected with this. Because if they weren't, they'd be saying something out there right now.
Well,
They
some
don't.
of them are saying something, and a lot of it, I think they're talking amongst themselves. I don't think they know what to do at this point. But I did see, like I was saying, there was a like a news conference in Congress with several different Congress people. And I remember John Kennedy from Louisiana was one of them, where this was brought up. So they're not saying a lot in public at this point, but they need to.
Yeah.
They need to get their stuff together. This is the most important thing that will have the greatest impact in anyone who's living or yet to be born will ever face. I can't think of another scenario that would be worse than the one that they're trying to roll over on us.
And you heard that guy say it too. They want to eradicate us. You know, they want to kill us. You know, the people who are not, well, like I said before, if you take more from the government than what you give back, they don't want you. You're useless to them.
Yeah, you're a drone. You're a drone. You simply produce, and when your productive life is over, take a horse, a racehorse. Now, it's born, it's raised up, it's trained, it's entering race after race. But when he can't win any races anymore, he's too old. What happens to him? If they're generous, they put them out to pasture and let them live a somewhat decent life. But a lot of them go to the glue factory because they don't want to waste that money on them. So, I mean, it's like we're going to the glue factory when we can no longer produce the things that they want. Then it's time for us to go to the glue factory, you know, to make glue out of us.
Jeez. Sounds like something like in the Matrix, you know? That's what it sounds like. I don't know. I don't, you know, maybe that, you know, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. But I mean, it's just, I'm not getting any takers. They're not understanding. I'm not getting, you know, it just amazes me. I'm just amazed. I really am. Maybe because I'm too rough with them. I don't know. I'm trying to wake them up. But I'll keep doing it until I can't do it no more. Start waking these people up. But this CDBDC is going to be a terrorizer for everybody.
There's another link I'm going to try to send you to, because it takes another aspect of what is going on and puts it in play. It brings a human element to it that is really quite remarkable, and you can see how it's working. I don't say too much about it, but I'll look for that link again and then I'll send it to you. But it's a different approach that explains a lot.
Yeah, when you do it, I'll do what I got to do and I'll put it out there. You know what I mean? This is important. This is really, you know, I mean, I got grandkids. You know, I have kids myself. I don't want to see that. When I leave this world, I want to make sure they're comfortable. They're you know, they're not going to be demonized, from these Satanist bastards. It just pisses me off that they want us to suffer again. We've done it ever since America was born. People dying, people suffering, the Great Depression. And it's bullshit. Why these elites sit back there and just reap the benefits from our harvest. That's bullshit.
And to bring up a slightly different subject, now Jeff Bezos of Amazon, one of the top wealthy people in the world, Amazon just went on strike on yesterday, Black Friday.
What?
So all the warehouse workers.
Yeah.
I mean, all over, not just in the United States, but in other countries also.
Did they really?
Tens of thousands of them are striking right now.
Wow, good for them. Good for them. That's going to hurt his wallet. What are they striking about? What's the
wages and working conditions and surveillance? They've got the surveillance in these warehouses in order to get more productivity, and they're tweaking it so that these guys are under constant pressure to perform, and it would be like living in North Korea, really. And so it's not. I couldn't have a job like that. I wouldn't last. I wouldn't last at all. I've never had a job like that. Well, I did. I had something close one time, but I didn't last there either. A couple months, only because I needed to work at the time, and but as soon as I realized what it was, I was looking for an escape, and it took me another 30 days to find it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you a bit. They're just getting too much power over us. They are. Got to have a blood test. Got to have a breathalyzer test. That's bullshit. I'm getting tired of it.
Show me your documents.
Yeah. Can I see your registration and insurance license for driving? It's a privilege. No, it ain't.
You don't have the right. You don't have the right driver's license to get on a plane. You cannot. You want to go from Tennessee to Georgia? You want to fly? You don't have the right driver's license. You can't do that.
I hate to say this, but these people shouldn't even fly anymore. They shouldn't even fly. I know they got loved ones and everything else, but they're not. They're cutting their own throats. Is what they're doing. If we stopped everything, if we didn't buy anything, if we stayed at home for at least a week, it would be a devastating effect on the government. On the taxes and all these. Man, I tell you.
Yeah, like the George Gammon in your video at the end, he was saying, well, there's more of us than there are of him. Civil disobedience is the way to go. It's legal. Civil disobedience is legal. But you're not going to get out there in the street and throw rocks and do all this damage. There's no need for that. The real solution is, stay the hell home.
Don't buy a damn thing for at least a week. That would be a different. Oh.
Stock up on food. Yeah, do it for a week. Do it for a week. If that doesn't get their attention, do it for 3 weeks. If that doesn't get their attention, do it for 2 months. You'll have their attention. Believe me. They need those drones to produce for them to rob us. If we're not producing, they can't rob us.
Oh, I want to see what happens on December 6th with the railroad. That's going to be something else if they go on strike. The railroad.
Yeah.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. That's going to be a devastating effect. And you know what? I can't blame them. I don't blame them a bit.
Well, they don't have a life.
No.
Their job is their life,
Mhm.
and that's what they're complaining about.
And it's
They want a
true.
life. They want a life outside of working. Well, that's the last thing that these global elites want you to have is a life outside of working. They want to get every ounce of production out of you while you're alive and useful before you break down and get old and become a liability. And then they want to, get rid of you.
Yep, they sure do. But they're going to do it too. If people don't start sticking together. I mean, look what they're doing to your kids right now. You're feeding them, you're clothing them, you're going through the hardship when they get sick. Take them to the hospital, and yet the teachers want to say, "No, these are not your kids. These are our kids."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. That is a good point. Because if your kids are not important enough for you to stand up and decide what is in their best interest, if you're not the final say in what is in their best interest, well, then what have you really got? What have you really got? What in the hell is your purpose? Why are you the parent? Why are you paying for them? If you're going to let government decide that, then the government needs to raise them. They need to pay for their food. They need to pay for their everything, clothes, shoes.
That's right. That's right. It's not right. It's not right what they're doing. Look at Generation Z. Did you see that video with the Generation Z? This guy was asking questions. And they couldn't answer him. They couldn't answer him. Guy couldn't even. Remember I told you about the second-hand clock? They don't know how to read it. They don't know how to do it.
No, they're not learning anything. But
No.
but as soon as you talk about gender, they know all about that.
Yeah, there's science in that. Yeah.
As soon as you talk about race, well, they're the experts on that.
Yeah.
That's what they learn.
Pretty bad when you ask them how many moons are there around Earth. 4. I'm like, what? 4 moons around the Earth? Give me a break.
Wow. Where was the Great Wall of China built?
I don't know. Yeah.
The one person said Japan.
Yeah, he did say, yeah. I mean, I feel sorry for him. Don't get me wrong, but they just, I don't know. They just, as drones. That's what they are. They're drones. They don't know what damn thing. I look pretty, and I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to stay with mom and daddy in the basement.
Yeah, I got to look good on TikTok.
Yeah,
if I look good on TikTok, that's my whole world.
Yeah, or dancing. Look at me, man. I'm going to make a good living in dancing. Yeah.
I can twerk better than you.
Yeah.
That brings my social score way up because everyone who's attracted to my twerking, well, that increases my opportunity for selecting a mate.
My God, man. I didn't like the idea of working my ass off, but I did it because of my family, And I didn't take no bullshit,
You didn't have to work your ass off. All you have to do is twerk nowadays.
If I would have known that, I would have waited. Mm-hmm.
You just gotta get some rhythm in your cheeks, buddy.
That's right. Well,
you want to make it today? That's the requirement.
Well, the problem is one cheek's bigger than the other. I'm kind of lopsided when I dance. Knocks me off balance a little bit,
Well, that could be to your advantage.
Yeah. Back that booty up. Yeah, but all guys games are fun. It's coming down to a head, and people better start realizing you ain't gonna have nothing.
Well, you got to hit them with a stick to get their attention, and that stick is going to be when they can't get on that airplane, when they can't go to the grocery store and buy food. when they can't get in their car and go down the street because gas is $10 a gallon, things like that. You'll have their attention then. Now it may be too late. It may be too late,
That's what I'm
but
thinking. Mm-hmm.
it's possible that it won't be. They can't get rid of cash right away. As soon as they get rid of cash, the only way they can do that is they have to have a tremendous amount of people buying into the system before they get rid of cash.
Well, I'll put it this way. I don't know how you are down there in your gas stations, but if you pay on credit, you got to pay 10 cents extra for each gallon.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if you pay cash, go on.
Yeah, because that card charges the merchant extra, so they're not willing to swallow that extra.
So I pay cash. The hell with them. In fact, I had one that was charging me credit. I went back to this. What are you doing? What do you mean? I didn't give you no credit card. And I was demanding. I says, check that freaking. Oh, was I mad? As I gave you cash. Oh, I'm sorry. I said, no, you're not. You did it purposely. Oh, I was madder than a hornet, man. So you got to watch yourself when you even give them cash.
Well, they don't know how to count it.
No, they don't either. You're right. Yeah, they don't know how to make change.
No, you gotta be very careful these days.
Yeah, I always ask, can I have change for a dollar, 4 quarters, 2 dimes, and a nickel? It works. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just is getting ridiculous. Making our kids, not to be conscious of what's going on. It's smart, that's why Hitler did it, They just use the same tactics as they did in the old times. You know what I mean? The same scenario. The only problem is that we have a generation of people, they don't know any better.
The results are the same. I think the tactics are somewhat different.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, it does.
They've refined it.
Yeah, they sure did.
See, they're not going to kill you until they have total control. Then, if they want to kill you wholesale, there's nothing to stop them. The only thing they can do at this point is start more wars and roll out more biological agents. Let's call it.
Well, that's another deal too. Did you see that Ukraine deal? What's his name, Lewinsky? I need more money. I need more money. My daughter and I were looking at him yesterday. This sucker's doesn't even have a bandage on him, not even cut. He's got a nice haircut done, nice secluded area talking to people. I need more money from America. Gimme, gimme, gimme.
Well,
and Joe Biden's doing it.
Sure. Anything to keep spending us into inflation. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The more they spend, the worse inflation gets. And they don't want to stop that. And everybody thinks, here's the big trickery. Everybody thinks that the Federal Reserve now is going to pivot a little bit. They're not going to put that 75 basis point interest rate hike on. They're going to go to half a point. And that's what they want. And that's what they expect. Now, what if he doesn't? What if he puts 3/4 on? What's going to happen to the markets? The stock market will drop like a rock. So there's every bit the possibility that he would use, but nobody knows for sure. It's on again, it's off again. Look at the price of gold. Now gold is holding around $17.50 an ounce. Ordinarily it would be continuing its decline. But it's not, because they're manipulating the paper market on gold. They sell these derivatives to where people have paper saying they own so much gold, and 5, 10, 20 people own the same ounce is what it boils down to. But they get away with that. You know, I mean, that's if that isn't a Ponzi scheme, but that's the market. That's the paper market in gold.
Sounds like a pyramid scheme. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much. Because if they all turned into paper for delivery of actual gold, there wouldn't be enough gold because they're not holding it. So that would crash the market, and everybody would lose their ass. They would have to stop the trading on it and cancel all the contracts. So whatever money you put out there to buy that is now suddenly disappeared.
Wow. That seems to be the answer. Gold and platinum, you know. That's what it seems like. And silver. That's what it seems to be the answer. I don't know for sure, but it just sure does sound like it to me.
Well, it's one avenue. Whether it will be the answer or not, I'm not sure that there is any one answer. I think a guy has to be, you know, he has to be diversified. He has to have cash. He has to have some gold and some silver, maybe some platinum. You know, how much of it depends on each individual. But, you know, I don't think you're going to see a time, myself, where you can take a silver coin that you bought for $25 an ounce, $30 an ounce. I don't think you're going to see a time where you can take that down and spend it and actually buy something with it. Not on a large scale. I don't see that ever happening, really.
That's the old scenario. You're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. You don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even these people that have been investors and in finance for 30, 40 years, they don't have the answer either. That's why they're diversified. They got stocks, they got bonds, they got treasuries, you know, they got real estate, they got all these wealthy people. They're diversified and they're getting rid of things that they see might be a problem. For like this one guy was saying, he had real estate and he mostly had apartments or single family homes, and the rents had increased and it was like 30% above the previous year or something like that. And so he saw that that doesn't last forever. And so he got rid of it all to avoid the crash when it comes back down. Because what goes up does come down, as we've seen, especially in real estate. It might be worth a lot today. You might be paying a lot of rent today. But when things go to hell, things come down too.
Look at California, how expensive it is over there for one little room, you know?
Yeah, New York City's been that way for a long time. Look what those people pay for a one-bedroom apartment there. Years ago, they were paying $2,000-3,000 a month for an efficiency.
And parking too. They got to pay for parking
if they have a car.
Yeah, yeah. That's bullshit. What happened to the freedom that we were supposed to have? You know what I mean?
and they double park and triple park over there. I don't understand how they can do that, because when you go out to get your car, you got two people in your way that's got to move theirs before you can ever get yours out. That would be a total nightmare.
Yeah. Well, over here in Detroit, anywhere you go, either there's a meter you can't park, or you got to go to a parking lot. Where they, you got to pay to put your car in there. It's a gimmick down there. It really is. That's why I don't like Detroit. Detroit's terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of places like that too.
Yeah, and they spend money like crazy down there. These city council members and mayor and everything. Where's that money going to? It sure ain't going to the people of Detroit. But they're so used to living that way, they don't complain. They don't bitch. But they're moving out, though. They are moving out. And I can't blame them. And then they have this coming up, the CBDC. Jeez, oh man, that's going to be a nightmare.
And there's no way that they can do what they say they want to do by 2030, by 2035, by 2040, by 2050, whatever. There's no way they can do it, because they cannot get the minerals out of the ground that they need for batteries and cars and windmills and solar panels to the extent enhance the electrical grid. There's no way that they can get the minerals out of the ground to meet those goals. And they say, well, we got to do it faster now. There's a big push, everything. It's got to be done faster now. Well, if you can't get the stuff out of the ground that you need, because you not only have to get it out of the ground, you have to process it. It takes years to set up a mine. You don't just, I'm going to dig in the ground and get this little bitty rock that they need. That's not an overnight deal. You're not some guy with a pan going to the stream and panning for gold. That's not going to fix the problem. They need large quantities of these minerals, and at the rate that they're coming out of the ground right now, it would take thousands of years for them to have enough to do what they plan on doing with the electric vehicles, the windmills, the solar power, and all this nonsense. It's totally impossible. If you look into it, it's totally impossible. Not going to happen.
So what's the bottom line? You know what the bottom line is.
Yeah, they're raping everybody out of their money.
Yeah, and then get rid of them. This way they'll have enough energy to survive for a certain amount of people. That's exactly what's going to happen. The grid of America is terrible. Electric grid is pathetic.
Yeah, I think it was Elon Musk. He set up a battery, a big battery storage thing, trying to store what is it? Solar power, wind power, and to use it. Well, the battery was huge. I mean, maybe it took up a whole city block, but it was only going to power like 7,500 homes for 20 some hours.
Wow.
So how much would you have to do to get all those minerals out of the ground and build all those battery stations to accept all this power? Because that power has to be stored, because if the sun don't shine and the wind don't blow, there's no power. So you got to have it stored someplace. And the way they're doing it now is they're selling it like carbon credits. In other words, this big windmill farm or this big solar panel farm They produce all this when the sun, let's take solar. When the sun is shining, they're producing all this electricity. It gets put into the electric grid, but there's nowhere to store it. So you got to use it. You got to actually use it. Now, how these guys get around being green and claiming they're green is they'll buy some of that electric power produced from the solar plant during the day when it's produced, and that makes them look green. But as soon as the sun quits shining, they're back onto fossil fuel power. So they're never going to be green. They're just bullshitting you that they're green.
What was it? Biden paid, what's his name, Newsom, 1 billion to leave one of the reactors open in California, one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Nuclear reactors.
I think it's San Onofre, if memory serves me correctly. Yeah, it was scheduled to be shut down in 2025, and Biden is trying to bribe him with over $1 billion to keep it going.
I mean, it's a shady deal. I mean, it's Biden just as shady as I won't even say it, but anyway, he's shady as hell. You know what I mean? Lie like a mother freaker.
Well, he's just like Trudeau. He's a he's a sycophant of Klaus Schwab. They don't have the guts to stand up to him, and they see that they can enrich themselves by going along with Klaus, and they think they're going to be among the elites that are going to be in power, but they're going to get chewed up. There'll be a very small minority in power when it's all said and done.
Just to destroy everybody's lives. Yeah, when it's done. Greed. It's a terrible disease, boy, I tell you. But again, we're the antidote. The American people, you know, people around the world, they don't want to stick up together amongst these little peons. Then shame on us. We deserve exactly what we get. But we do too. They will take your guns away. They will stop your auditing. They will tell you what to eat, when to eat it. They will tell you when to go outside, when not to. They will tell you when to go to work, when not to. They will tell you when to use water, when not to.
They'll tell you what kind of medicine you have to have. And if they need more transgenders, they'll tell you you got to transition.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need more we need more trans people, transgender people in government. We need them in all the different vocations. You know, you got to have a certain number of transgender teachers. You got to have a certain number of transgender this or that. You know, you got to have all this for diversity. So if not enough people are transitioning, they might just start selecting people to transition. What are you going to do? They're going to shut your digital currency off if you don't do what they want. So there you go.
And I'll tell you something else too. People don't believe this. You know, of all religions in the world, all over the world, there's only one religion they're going after: the Christian Bible, because that Christian Bible is true what it says. I read a little chapter every single day, and everything it says is coming true today. You know, not any other Bible, just the Christian Bibles and the Christian people. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of Christian people out there, pastors that are crooked, like Al Sharpton. I don't even call him Reverend, Mr. Big Mouth. You know, there's a lot. But the Bible itself, when you read it, it's factual. It's true. You know, a lot of things are coming true today because of this. It's amazing. Well, that's why they're trying to get rid of the Christian Bible. And they are changing the words of it already. in the Bible. Used to be the lion will lay down with the lamb. Now it's the wolf will lay down with the lamb. They changed that verb for that sentence.
Well, there's only one religion that will fit in with their Orwellian plans, and I think that's the Muslim religion.
Bingo. You hit it.
Because that's local control.
Mm-hmm.
That is local control right in your neighborhood. They'll cane you. They'll chop your hand off. They'll make you wear whatever kind of clothes they want to. They decide is appropriate for you. That's local control. So the more local control you have, the easier it is to control a state or a nation.
Hold on a minute. It says railroad strike possible ahead of holiday season. They can't stop it. It's gonna it might possibly have a strike. All right, it just did it just now.
Well, there's every likelihood they will, because they won't agree. It's not just money. They want a life.
Oh, excuse me. They're showing the Amazon strike now.
Yeah, see, now you have Amazon on strike, you have the railroads go on strike. What does that do to delivery of the products that you think are going to be here for Christmas?
Yeah.
What do you think that's going to do? Maybe that'll wake a few people up. Maybe that'll get their attention, and maybe they'll start understanding what the hell's going on around them.
Yep. Your government don't give a shit about you. It's a corporation, a money-making factor. Man, I'll tell you, if I could get off the grid of government, I would. I really would.
Now, you can tell people that all the Democrats are fascist, or the Republicans are fascist, but we have a fascist system right now. It's these corporations that are now dictating to various industries how much support they're going to get. And the perfect example is these banks agreeing to we're not going to finance fossil fuel companies. There are mines that we need to explore and open up, but they're not going to finance those either. Well, how are they going to get these minerals out of the ground?
True.
That they need for their Green New Deal.
You wouldn't believe this. They're showing Biden at Nantucket, where he lives at. My God. Right on the water. Beautiful home. This is one of his homes. Unfreaking real, dude. Yeah.
Well, if you can get elected and sell out the American people to China, you can have that too.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Oh, hold on. It says holiday begins as inflation remains high. Oh, this is going to be good.
See, now they're back to inflation is high again.
Mm-hmm.
Before everyone was sure they're going to pivot. Well, if inflation is high and they pivot, what does that mean? That means that inflation is going to become hyperinflation because they're no longer attacking it. They're no longer trying to bring it down. Basically, they don't give a damn about inflation. If you want to know the truth, they don't care how. They need inflation in order to satisfy and remove the debt that they've created. It's a vicious cycle. That's why a lot of people are saying they'll never get down to 2% inflation again. They're going to have to satisfy themselves with 3% or 4% inflation, because they're never going to get it back down to 2%.
Wow. This just gets better and better, this rabbit hole,
Now, you get cost of living adjustments. Even when you're working, you're not even on Social Security or some kind of retirement or whatever. But a lot of your raises in these companies are dependent on what the cost of living increase is, considering inflation. So if they give you a raise that is equal to inflation, it's only equal to inflation right now. It's not equal to the inflation over and above what you're getting right now that you're going to get in the future. So in other words, January 1, you get a raise, right? And it covered what inflation was last year. But now inflation's still out of control. You're living through the next year before you get a raise, and you're already losing money because inflation is higher. So you're in a no-win situation. You're always behind inflation. And it's robbing you every day.
Well, I remember the natural gas companies a long time ago. They just had gas. You know how much you had to pay for it. That's it. Now they got like recovery. You know, just delivery. Oh, what the? You know, they keep adding more and more tax, just like your phone bill, your cell phones. Now they got other stuff in there. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like trucking. When gas is too expensive, you get surcharges.
Yep. Yeah, just one thing after another. Oh, here comes my buddy, I think. Mr. Squirrel. Yeah, just tax. It's not doing a bit of good. You can see what's going on right now. It's not doing any good. They want more.
I didn't know Joe Biden knew where you lived.
Yeah, he's coming to get my nuts. Come on, have at it, Bubby. Yeah. Yeah. He's a pervert anyway.
And a squirrel.
Then I'm tired of those damn broadcasting people out there like Joy Reid. That's another one that got me mad. You know?
No, she's a communist. She's all for it.
Yeah, well, she came from Harvard. Oh.
That's where they breed them.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. You could be absolutely normal and go into Hollywood or Hollywood. Yeah, it might as well be Hollywood, Harvard. You'll come out a communist, or you won't make the grade.
Well, they got that cross of bones too with her, you know. That secret organization. That's what Bush Senior, Junior, and the rest of them. I think what's his name, Clinton, 1, 2, and they're all cahoots with each other.
Yeah, to be a Rhodes Scholar now, you got to be a dyed-in-the-wool communist.
Yeah, if you want to make anything of yourself. Oh, it reminds me. I was watching a video. These kids, they can't afford college. They're talking about, and they asked the kids, "Well, why do you want to become, to go in college?" Well, I want to make the money. I want to make that 300,000, even more than that, and I want to get to know people. Mingle among people. People higher up. I'm like, wow, unreal. It's not, helping people. It's to advance their life to screw us over.
Well, yeah, everybody wants their daughter to go to college, hoping that she'll meet somebody well-to-do.
Yeah, that's what it is. Exactly what it is. Yeah, they said that. I went, whoa. But a lot of them couldn't do it. They couldn't afford the college. College shouldn't be that expensive. Not when you have the college professors making over what, $200,000, $500,000, even more than that. Some of them.
Nobody should be allowed to work in government that graduates from one of those leftist colleges.
No, they shouldn't.
Yet that's where they select them from.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he went to Harvard, so let's give him a job in government because he's so smart.
Harvard, can I have some caviar, please?
With your little finger out, please.
Oh, put your fingers up. Put your finger up. Not, don't pick your nose. Yeah, falsifying little perverts. Yeah, but you got to be across the bones. They only select certain people that have qualifications, and then they're in government. If somebody gets in there, they hire their friends in there that belong to Cross the Bones in Harvard. So yeah, it's a big game, big pony game. But you don't hear nothing about that though. You know what I mean? You got to
It's a
keep.
filter. It's a filter so that those who are powerful and connected can bring their kids up through it. That's who gets through the filter. Now there are other people that get through that filter too, but maybe they did more community service than someone else, and that's how they got there. Not because they're smarter.
No, no, it's not what you anymore. It's who you know. Or I'm sorry, it's who you blow. I'm sorry. Ask Monica Lewinsky.
Well, you remember those Hollywood elites that had their kids, and some of them went to prison because they were uh, what the hell were they doing? They got
Paying
their
off the
kids.
deed.
Yeah. They were bribing. They were bribing the university officials to get their kids placement in college over other people more qualified.
Hmm.
But because they were Hollywood, you know, the special.
The money, the prestige, the people you know. And I haven't heard anything yet about Paul Pelosi in that incident with those two dancing in the moonlight, dark, nude,
Yeah,
with the hammers in their hand.
yeah.
Very quiet about that. Of course, they use it for the chaos for political reasons. It was the Republicans that did this. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they sent that illegal immigrant in there with a hammer all greased up.
Wonder if they had a Missoula party.
And
Wow.
the window was broken from the inside and all the glass was on the outside, but yet this guy broke in. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, I guess they're mandating the mask mandate over in California. I see.
Well,
Like, yeah,
I knew that was coming.
yep, it's
I,
coming up again. Already did, or I should say, it is already implemented. Yeah.
I think I was saying that like a couple of weeks ago. Just wait, it's coming around again. These uh, these woke governors are going to go along with all the draconian bullshit that we already know doesn't work.
Hmm. And if you comply, well, good. They got you. They got you good. Now they can do other things with you. Oh, we got to comply with the government. They wouldn't lie to us. They wouldn't lie to us at all. They're good people.
You know, people in government, once they get all this like they want it, with the digital currency and all that, people in government, they could just swoop down and take your 18-year-old daughter right off the street, just like Saddam Hussein's sons did. You know, you'll find them raped and murdered in a ditch a week later. What would stop them? What would stop them?
Yeah.
What could stop them from doing something like that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, the SS did it. They did.
Yeah. Yeah.
They sure
Well,
did.
Especially when you have to be a psychopath to go along with this program anyway.
Yeah. Definitely. It gets better and better. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell everybody. And then, when I get done with YouTube, I warned you. I'll suffer for it. I don't care. I try to warn you people. I can understand some people can't do this, but a lot of them can. You know what I mean? I mean, we worked too hard to tell them, and it just not to have any results. You know, I mean, not even nothing. You know, they don't want to listen. And like you said, it's going to happen when they can't fly no more. When they got to stand in a bus waiting for a bus out the street when it's rainy or cold, just to find out they get killed walking in the bus because someone had a knife or something. You know what I mean? It's gonna be so bad. It's gonna be worse than the purge.
Yeah, you can't fly. You have to take a bus to Europe.
Hey Ralph, you want to blow up the pro station there? Yeah, let it float. But yeah, it's gonna get that way. It really is. And to have bugs to eat, oh man, I'll tell you, they got it at a store. I forget where it was at. I don't know. It was in Wyoming, whatever. They had a 24 cricket box of bugs that you can eat on the way driving home or wherever you're going to. For $4.99 for 24 of them.
Wow, that's not even a pound, I'll bet.
Yeah, garlic, vinegar tasting, chocolate tasting, yeah, whatever you wanted.
Well, I suppose you could put that on a turd and make it taste good too.
Yeah, yeah. Let's dip it into that shit. Yeah, yeah. They get,
Whatever it takes, you know.
I forgot her name, but one of the Hollywood. What is it? Megan? I forgot her name. Got it. Anyway, she never gets old because she gets so much Botox on her. But she was eating crickets. Oh, this is delicious. Yeah, okay.
Well, that's how they do it, you know. They'll run all these supposedly special, important people out. They'll show you the way. Everybody will say, oh, well, if it's good enough for them, I've got to try it at least. Let me have some of that bug guts. There's nothing better than a good steaming bowl of bug guts. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You won't have to be like, what was it, Laurel and Hardy? You won't have to worry about a fly in your soup.
Yeah.
There's a fly in my soup. There's a fly in my soup.
He won't eat much. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, nothing like eating bug guts, you know, all that shit that's in their intestines and the asshole and yeah, the brains, the eyes. Oh yeah. You go ahead and eat it, people.
For those who like texture, of course, the crickets, grasshoppers, that's the way to go. For those who want a little different texture, you can go right to the worms and the maggots.
Get a toothpick though if you get done eating crickets.
Yeah, you got to save one of the legs so you can pick it out of your teeth.
That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah. People are just they got a good awakening coming up.
Honey, I just ate some bug guts. You don't mind if I kiss you, do you?
I'll play music when I do. Cricket. Yeah.
I can't stop my leg. I can't stop my leg.
All three of them. Pistachios, anyone? Oh my god. Yeah, it's coming down to a point. Yeah, I guess that's about it for now. We did our talking now. It's up to the people to do what they want to do. If I happen to find anything more, if you do see that one video though, Frosty, tell me about it, okay?
Yeah, I will. I'll go look for it and send it to you.
Let me say something, people. You know, we're not anti-American. We're anti-government for what they're doing to the American people. Frosty's a military man. He went to war. I didn't. I've seen a lot of my friends come back for nothing. You know, either in a box or dismembered or just totally PTSD. And these rich people sit back and enjoy it. They used us. They punked us. They lied to us. They're thieves. They're liars. They're lazy. And they'll do anything in the world to collect more power over you and take everything you own. For what? For their gain, not for us. We're here not to just say subscribe, because I don't want subscribers and I don't want thumbs up. I just want listeners like Frosty does. We're not out here to be heroes. We're out here to tell you people, wake up other people who want to listen. Because when the CBDC comes up, you're not going to have nothing. They're going to have total control over you, or your money is going to be shut down. And that's it. You're not going to get any money. You won't have no transaction, no food. And the only thing you can do is rob, steal, just to make ends meet. What a hell of a life that is. Why these rich people live in peace and harmony and don't give a shit about us.
And they'll have guns protecting them. You might not have any protecting you, but they'll have armed people protecting them, just like they do now.
And it's bullshit that people are getting shot, killed, everything else. They just want to get rid of your guns. That's an excuse. It's not good American people who have been registered for guns. It's the outlaws. A gun does not just kill. You lay it on the table for years and years and won't do nothing. It's the individual. But the government doesn't want to do nothing. Your district attorneys don't want to even prosecute these people. Whether it be rape, kill, loot, murder, burn, whatever. They don't want to prosecute because they want more chaos to stop our gun rights. And again, our Second Amendment wasn't just for hunting. It was to protect ourselves from the tyranny of government, like they're doing now. And this is why they want to get rid of our guns. And it's a damn shame. Either you unite together or we fall together. We are the cure for this disease called Klaus Schwab, Joe Bite Me, our government. The government itself works. Our Constitution does work if it's implemented correctly. But they're changing the rules left and right, purposely, to destroy our lives. Oh, by the way, you might as well tell them one thing for us before we go off, because you know more about it than I do. We had 2 constitutions. Not 1, 2. All right, it's all yours, Frosty.
Well, the first,
excuse me.
There's various thoughts on that, but the first Constitution was called something else. I forget the name of it now. I should be able to remember. Well, yeah, I'll save that conversation because I could need to refresh myself. But the first Constitution was called something else, and the second Constitution was the actual Constitution. But you have to remember, the Bill of Rights that we have in the Constitution that applies to everybody, that didn't happen. It only applied to the people in the federal government up until the 19th century, early 19th century. People didn't have these Bill of Rights at the founding. So these first, second amendments and all the first 10 amendments, that did not apply to the average citizen.
Confederation.
Articles of Confederation, yeah, that's what it was. See, one of the theories is it didn't work, and it didn't work because of foreign policy. The foreign policy and the ability to pay off your debts. It was written in such a way that that was one of the big problems they had with it, and why they had to go back and create another one.
That's something you weren't taught in school. If you want to know more about it, just read up on it. There's a lot to it. Believe me, there is. But we did it. We have 2 constitutions we had. And basically it benefited the government, the second one, to have more control over us. That's what it was. More money.
Well, and if you read the Federalist Papers too, a lot of the people that everybody thinks was so heroic and founding fathers and all this and that, this Constitution applied to them. It was benefits for them. It was designed to keep them in power. It wasn't designed for the American people as a whole.
So just keep reading up, people, like we were trying to do. You know, with so much that we have read, well, I've forgotten quite a bit of it. You know, geez, oh man, until you strike a key or something, I remember something. You know, but basically, your government isn't for you; they're for themselves. It is a corporation. Government. The word government means mind control. Look at that. That's the word means government, mind control. Read up on it. You'll see it.
See, I'm not so much against government as I am against big government, because here's where the problem is. If there is a problem and government comes up with a solution, they have to create a agency in order to take on and tackle that problem. So they create this agency. And that's why government ends up making everything worse, because all these people that are new hires into this agency, if they solve the problem, they'd be out of a job. So how does the government keep growing? Because they don't solve the problems. They just create more problems and kick the can down the road and juggle this and juggle that to keep themselves in a job. So they're not solving the problem. Whatever the problem may be. If they did, you would have smaller government, because these agencies, once they solve the problem, would be done away with, but they never are.
Basically, the government was just for domestic and foreign terrorists, to protect us. That's what the government was for. You know, to form a military. Not anymore. They're getting into everything, and it's, like he said, big government. It's bullshit. They're getting into our lives. If they let American people alone, we ourselves could take care of us. We would be better off without the government and their bureaucracy, their demagoguery. It's bullshit is what it is. And they know this. I don't know. Well, that's just about it.
Yep.
Anything you want to say, Frosty, before we take off? Everybody, thank you very much for listening. I do appreciate it. I hope we can help you out. We're trying our best. Believe me, we are. And Frosty and I, even though you don't see us or hear from us, well, you see my videos, it's Frosty that gives me information as well. We work back and forth hand to hand. And I thank you for that too. Thank you, Frosty.
I do apologize to anybody in the chat, because I don't see the chat on the device that I use. I don't see the chat, because if I do, it creates a problem, knocks me out of the stream. So if you're here, if you're watching, if you made comments and I've got something wrong, I apologize, because I don't see all the information in the chat.
No, there wasn't very many right now. They're just, I got a couple listening right now. But you know what you should do is open your eyes up. Don't close your eyes when you're on the stream here.
Well, I may have my head in my butt.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Here's another deal before we hang up here. This Marcus at DHS, what a joke. They want him to resign. Put him in jail. He's a traitor. You know?
Well, he's perjuring himself. He's perjuring himself right in front of Congress when he says the border's under control. By no measurement is the border under control.
No.
By no measurement whatsoever. So that's perjury right there. And if they're not going to do anything about that, I think they're going to go the impeachment route rather than the Department of Justice won't do nothing to him.
No, just a slap in the hand. He's going to retire well, and that's it. Go back to some other government thing.
Because he's doing exactly what the administration wants him to do. He's just, he's taking the fall for it. They're pointing out all his shortcomings, and he's taking the fall for him, and he knows that. He has to know that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that DHS should be DHSS, or no, DHSP. Department of Home Security. No, Department of Home Screw the People. There we go. DHSP.
Well, it was a mistake to put everything under that anyway. Huge mistake. It's a monopoly on law enforcement. And any monopoly, whether it's in business or law enforcement, is not good for the nation. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
I agree with you 100%. I do. It's getting ridiculous. Like you said, it's just too big government. That's all. Do what we say, or you're going to get burned by doing it. And they're going to do it. All right. I guess that's just about it. Everybody, I thank you so much. Frosty, last words?
Oh, have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We do appreciate you at least listening to us. Have a good one, and good luck to you. Oh, have a good holidays coming up. Like I always say, you want to say it for me, Frosty?
I forget what you always say.